Hello and welcome to Overkill Reviews. I'm Sarah Kitteringham and I'm a freelance metal journalist and photographer who specializes in obscure metal. When I say obscure, it means that I love doom metal, death metal, black metal, speed metal, and traditional metal. For my first Overkill review here on Banger TV, I'll be reviewing DUMAL's debut full-length, The Lesser God, released on January 2nd on Bandcamp. DUMAL is a three-piece band from Pennsylvania that formed in 2013. They've already got 2 demos and 2 splits on Bandcamp, and now with the Digipack release of The Lesser God, almost everything in physical form on Bandcamp is sold out, and there's a goddamn good reason why. The first song that I'm going to talk about in this review is the opening track, Fane of the Clandestine. This song pretty much immediately kicks this album into exactly what you're going to hear from this record. There is a powerful merging of basically Scandinavian black metal, but the more melodic side of it, with the beautiful rhythms that Eastern European bands like Migwa and Druk are using. What I really like about this clip is that you immediately get what DUMAL's going for. They've got these wavering, beautiful segments in the guitars over top of these massive pummeling drums, and despite all of that, it's still ugly as hell. And after that, we get the interlude. I love that the band is doing an interlude this early because they're setting up the premise of this record. Less is more. Speaking of less is more, I love how DUMAL uses the vocals on this album. They have that ghastly shriek that is perfect for black metal. I really enjoy the band's usage of these ghastly growls. They never use them too often, but when they do use them, it's at the perfect time. Now I'm jumping ahead to track 6, simply because tracks 1 through 5 pretty much use the same structures. But track 6, The Wind Demon, is very synth heavy. This part of the song reminds me so much of Cult of Fire's album, Ascetic Meditations of Death. The reason why is because in the middle of this heavy, ugly album, you're getting a beautiful song that feels out of place, but sonically is perfectly fitted. To finish up the song, DUMAL goes into this cold, industrial-sounding drum segment. It's not unlike what you would hear on 90s records by Neurosis or even Fear Factory. If you enjoyed track 6, then you're really going to enjoy track 7. It's called Crania, and about halfway through the song, the synth is joined by a gorgeous, mournful violin. And while I love the inclusion of the violin, the synth is a bit repetitious. The album closes with the most excellently titled song, Spring Will Never Come, and it's vicious. In my opinion, if you're gonna start heavy, you better end heavy. And on this song, DUMAL does just that. After 5 minutes of relentless instrumentation, the singer ends with screaming, "The Void." That howling scream could be the mission statement for this album. Now, let's go to the verdict. This album by DUMAL is unusually strong, but if you're following black metal in the United States right now, you already know that there's an amazing scene percolating on the West and the East Coast. Frankly, this is a new style that is a direct critique of what the United States was producing for black metal, especially in the mid to late 2000s. Back then, we were hearing a lot of the Pacific Northwestern black metal, which is more ecological, there was more beauty, there was more of that kind of themes. Now we're starting to get black metal that has Eastern European influences, so the beautifulness is there, but there's way more hatred. And personally, I find this stuff way more interesting than I ever found anything from the Pacific Northwest, save for a band like Weakling, who are just relentlessly ugly. But DUMAL, they're different. This is an unusually strong record, and to be able to hear something like this and hear other bands like Uada, who is probably the equivalent on the East Coast, it's really refreshing because for a long time, black metal was not that interesting. If you dig the brutality and the ugliness and the relentlessness of Scandinavian black metal, then DUMAL is the kind of band that is taking that style and running with it. Basically, it's a recommended if you like Migwa, if you like Dissection, and if you like Druk and Cult of Fire. For coming out of the gate roaring with an unapologetically satanic and kick-ass black metal album, I'm giving DUMAL's The Lesser God 4 out of 5 skulls here on Overkill Reviews.